Stop for a second. Think about how many times you've said you're beautiful and watched it disappear into the air. No pause, no reaction, no memory left behind. Because the truth is, beauty is easy to say and easy to forget. But there are words that don't fade, words that sit in the chest, words that make someone feel seen instead of admired. In this video, I'm not giving you another compliment. I'm giving you a shift. One sentence that changes how she feels, how she remembers you, and how you remember yourself. Stay till the end, because the last part is the one most people are too afraid to say. Comment your location where you're watching from, subscribe to the channel for more real conversations like this. When most people say you're beautiful, they believe they're offering something meaningful. In reality, they're often repeating a cultural reflex. It's not dishonest, but it is shallow. Beauty has become the easiest compliment to give because it requires no observation, no risk, and no presence. You don't need to know the person. You don't need to understand them. You just need eyes. And that's exactly why it rarely lands. When a compliment can be delivered to anyone at any time, it stops feeling personal. It stops feeling earned. Think about how the human mind works. We attach emotional weight to things that feel rare and intentional. Generic praise slides past the brain without friction. Specific recognition creates impact because it signals attention. When you notice something precise about a person, you're telling them, without saying it directly, I see you, not the idea of you. That's powerful. It activates a deeper psychological response than surface admiration ever could. People don't crave to be looked at. They crave to be understood. There's also a philosophical layer here that most people miss. Complimenting beauty alone reduces a person to an object of perception. It centers the compliment around your opinion of their appearance. But when you compliment something specific, the way they think, the way they move through the world, the way they hold themselves under pressure, you shift the focus from consumption to recognition. You're no longer saying, I like what I see. You're saying, I respect what you are. That difference is felt instantly, even if it's not consciously analyzed. Specificity also communicates confidence. Anyone can say you're beautiful. It's safe. It's socially approved. But when you point out something nuanced, something subtle, you take a risk. You're trusting your perception. You're standing by your judgment. That alone changes how the words are received. Confidence isn't loud. It's precise, and precise language carries authority. Notice how this changes the dynamic. Instead of chasing validation, you're offering perspective. Instead of trying to impress, you're observing. That reverses the emotional current of the interaction. The other person doesn't feel like they're being evaluated. They feel like they're being acknowledged. And acknowledgement is what people remember. Long after looks fade and compliments blur together, the feeling of being truly seen stays. So the next time you're tempted to reach for the easiest words, pause. Ask yourself if you're speaking out of habit or awareness. Because the words that matter most are never the ones everyone else is saying. They're the ones only you could have noticed. Once you move past surface-level compliments, the next shift is learning to focus on effect rather than appearance. This is where most people struggle because we're trained to comment on what we can see, not what we experience. Yet psychologically, the human brain forms stronger emotional bonds around felt impact than visual input. You may notice someone's face, but you remember how you felt in their presence. That's not accidental. It's how connection is wired. When you tell someone they're beautiful, the compliment stays external. It lives on the surface. But when you speak to the effect they have, the way the room feels calmer when they walk in, the way conversations feel lighter, the way their presence steadies you, the compliment moves inward. It touches identity. You're no longer describing them. You're describing the change they create, and people instinctively value what creates positive change. There's an important philosophical distinction here. Appearance is passive, effect is active. Someone doesn't choose their face, but they do choose how they show up, how they listen, how they carry themselves through the world. When you acknowledge effect, you're recognizing agency. You're saying who you are in motion matters. That communicates respect on a level most compliments never reach. This is also why effect-based compliments feel rare and disarming. They can't be copy-pasted. They require presence in the moment. You have to be paying attention to your internal experience. How did this person shift your mood? What changed after they spoke? What felt different when they entered the space? That awareness alone signals emotional intelligence. It tells the other person you're not performing, you're responding. From a psychological standpoint, people form stronger attachments to those who make them feel emotionally safe, understood, or energized. When you name the effect someone has, you anchor yourself to that feeling. You become associated with clarity, grounding, or warmth. That's far more powerful than admiration. Admiration sits at a distance. Emotional impact creates closeness. There's also confidence in this approach. You're not asking for permission to feel what you feel. You're stating it. You're not hoping for a reaction. You're offering a reflection that shifts the power dynamic. It's calm. It's grounded, and it feels real because it is. People trust compliments that come from lived experience, not from habit. Notice how this aligns with the deeper human desire to matter, not to be looked at, but to make a difference. When someone hears that their presence changes something for the better, it validates a core need. It tells them they are not just noticed, but valued. So, the next time you speak, pay attention to how someone affects you, not just how they appear. Say the thing that names the shift they create. Because when you compliment effect, you're not just giving words, you're giving meaning. The deepest shift happens when a compliment moves beyond reaction and becomes recognition. Most people offer praise as a form of validation, hoping for approval, a smile, or a return compliment. That intention is felt even when it's subtle, and the moment a compliment is seeking something, it loses power. What stays is what's stated, not what's asked for. When you speak to someone's identity, you're not commenting on a moment. You're naming a pattern. You're pointing to a quality that feels consistent, something that shows up across situations. That's why identity-based compliments land differently. They don't feel like flattery, they feel like truth. Saying someone is grounded, resilient, curious, or quietly confident doesn't evaluate them, it recognizes them, and recognition creates a sense of being known. Psychologically, humans are wired to protect their identity. When someone accurately reflects it back to us, it creates trust. The mind relaxes because it feels understood. This is why those compliments linger. They don't just pass through, they integrate. A person may forget what you said verbatim, but they remember how it made them see themselves more clearly. There's also a philosophical responsibility here. Identity-based compliments require discernment. You can't rush them. You have to observe how someone responds to pressure, how they treat others, how they navigate uncertainty. This kind of attention communicates respect. It says, I've been paying attention long enough to know this about you. That's rare. And rarity creates value. Notice how this removes the need for performance. You're not trying to impress. You're not exaggerating. You're simply naming what is. That calm certainty is what gives the words weight. When you speak from observation rather than desire, your tone changes. It becomes grounded. People trust grounded language. This is also where confidence and humility meet. You're confident enough to state what you see and humble enough to let it stand on its own without demanding a response. That balance is powerful, It doesn't pressure the other person. It invites them to receive, and people open up when they don't feel managed. Over time, these are the words that shape memory, not because they were dramatic, but because they were accurate. They feel like someone held up a mirror and said, "This is who you are when no one is watching." That's not a compliment you forget. That's a moment of clarity. So if you take anything from this, let it be this. Stop trying to validate. Start recognizing, speak to identity with honesty and restraint, because the words that change how someone feels about you are the same words that change how they feel about themselves.